and welcome to Twin Flames Between Worlds podcast. My name is Tabitha.
And I'm Liesl.
Hi, and welcome to our fourth mini episode of A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas.
Woo!
Welcome back. A mini episode where we either don't have a guest or...
It's been a long time coming.
It has been a long time, folks, but here we are. This is a spoiler episode for the rest of Silver Flame. So if you haven't read up until the end of Silver Flame, do not listen to this.
Yes.
Or if you do, or you don't care, whatever.
I mean, I know that we're halfway through Silver Flames, but like...
This is just to let you guys know beforehand. It was like, oh, until the end of Silver Flame, but now it's to the end. So
yeah,
just to let you guys know, because we will be talking about a mini chapter here.
Mm-hmm.
And so before we get to that, this is a explicit warning. Even in these mini chapters, Sarah has to give us some sex.
Of course.
So it's important, especially when it's Rhys and Feyre involved.
Yes, it's a domestic couple. An established couple.
A domestic couple.
I meant to say established, but they're domestic.
It's like they're trained. Yes, be wary of little listening ears because we will be talking about some sex and sexual innuendo.
Yes.
And we are very personally excited before we start this deep dive of this mini chapter. We have our first sponsor promotion going on right now. I'm personally so excited for this. It's been a long time coming. It's been 2 years, almost 2 years of us doing this.
Yeah.
And it just seems like all the hard work that we're like been put into this is finally, showing up. So
yeah, I remember back in season, I think all the way even back in season 1. And it's just like, sponsor of the graphic audio. It's like, well, today we don't.
It's not graphic audio. No. It's not graphic audio.
We were joking. Oh, what if we actually got sponsors one day?
What if sponsors happen? And here we are.
Here we are.
So it is Terrain, a travel and adventure gear fun website. So here, Terrain creates bold, eco-friendly bags from upcycled feed bags and recycled plastic bottles. These durable and stylish products are perfect for travel and outdoor adventures. Oh, that's so fun. When I personally saw these bags, like sometimes when you think of recycled bags, you think that they're going to look like a certain way. These look so stylish. We were looking through the their website.
They have designs all over them. They have like fish, animals, and then also they have different like styles of like actual bags. Over the shoulder bags, they have backpacks.
Yes.
It's like they create all of these different types. It's incredible.
I'm from Indiana. I know what a feed bag is.
Yep, I know what a feed bag is. I've had chickens.
And so since it's our first sponsor, I did want to give them a shout out. She was funded by Nyla, a formal apparel designer. This company emerged from her desire to reduce waste and empower artisan communities. So during her trip to Southeast Asia, she discovered the potential of discarded feed bags, partnered with Cambodian artisans to upcycle them into stylish, functional accessories. And each of them is handcrafted, supporting their fair trade and ensuring high quality. So
they look really high quality, actually. And maybe this is just me, like, as an outdoor person and having, like, had a lot of backpacks. Like, when I was younger, I didn't really pay much attention to them. But they were sturdy. They were strong. So, like, I'm excited for that, too.
Yes.
I might give me some of these.
Yeah, we're going to use our own code. So, yes, our code. And we will definitely be putting this in the description and all over Instagram. So, if you use the promo code TFBW Podcast, that's Twin Flames Between Worlds Podcast, just shortened, you will get 15% off of any of your purchases. So, and then stay to the end because we have some fun terrain facts for you. At the end if you stay to the end. But let's get right into this mini chapter, shall we?
I'm excited.
So Sarah J. Maas decided to paint us all and give us 2 mini chapters of Silver Flame. And so the one we will be going through today is the Rhys and Feyre chapter from Feyre's perspective.
Yes.
And we will also be putting this in the description because if you don't have that version of the book, I do.
There is also a Tumblr post that has the full chapter on it.
Yes, because thank God for people on Tumblr.
Yes, who have taken pictures of their books and posted them. Thank you. I'm using the Tumblr post right now, so. So
I will tell you that Crescent City 3 has, I think, 6 different versions. There are 6 bonus chapters in that book.
6 bonus chapters?
Girl, don't even get me started. No, this is the third book.
In the third book. Third book has 6.
My mom got me all of those. Shout out to Mary. Okay. My mom got me all
That's
of
impressive, Mary.
Okay, chapter. Oh, but anyway, we're talking about ACOTAR right now. So this is happening after the Nesta Elaine argument. So this is back a little bit, but this is like when everybody finds out that they're pregnant. So this was like right after they told everybody and after the Nesta and Elaine argument because they talk about that in the in the book. So they're literally like in Rhys's study afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And Nesta and Cassian are like returning to the House of Wind. And obviously that's the also important fact there is she's like, shit, I guess I gotta look for the Dread Trove.
Yeah, because otherwise Elaine's going to.
Yeah, so it's like all of those ultimatums and all that shit happen, and then this is like a nice Feyre moment.
Yeah.
Before their dreams are crushed from them.
Yeah.
And they just keep bringing up in this whole... Boy, it's a boy.
Son,
Mm-hmm.
boy,
A
or son.
I mean, for anyone who's like first-time parents, I mean, we're far from that. But like, I couldn't imagine thinking, this is my son. I feel like I would have that reaction too of...
I've created something inside me.
We've
created something.
There is a human growing in my belly. Holy crap.
And it's a boy.
I love how the first thing Rhys says is about Elaine showing some teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, this is the first thing we're talking about when we get up here into bed. Because remember that conversation where she yelled at Nesta during that interaction and said,
mm-hmm.
well, of what my trauma did to you, you guys are worried about how it affected you, but you're not worrying about me.
And how it affected me.
Yeah.
It's like, so they had that little spat.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, Feyre was not expected.
To be fair, we weren't either. Like, she came in, like, claws out, like, actually verbally standing up for herself, mm-hmm. which I didn't expect that, despite, like, all my feelings about Elaine, which I agree with a lot of things Rhys says in this chapter. Despite all of that, like, I was not expecting her to, like, stand up for herself, especially against Nesta.
Yeah, and in front of everyone, too. In front of everyone. But, so, obviously, Feyre is, because it's in her perspective, she's very much saying, she feels bad. She feels bad that Elaine didn't direct that at her as well, mm-hmm. because they both have been kind of doing that. Nesta's just more bitchy about it.
Yeah, she's more vocal about it.
Yes. And so it's interesting in this little monologue she has to herself that it's like, Elaine and I have grown closer since Highburn, but I mean, I wouldn't go out to like drink with her.
Yeah. It's like, I wouldn't, like, go drink with her, like, more, and even I'd go with Amren over Elaine, and I don't go talk to her, like, immediately with my problems, but,
Does Elaine seem like the kind of person, though, you'd say, hey, you want to go get a beer?
No.
No, I don't even think...
No, despite all my feelings about her, she just doesn't seem like that person to be like, hey, you want to go clubbing?
She seems like, I'm sorry to throw her under the bus, but Irene, my best friend from high school, before she's like lightened up now.
Yeah, but doesn't she like love clubbing now?
She did before she had a boyfriend. And then it was like, now she's like all cute and shit.
She went from like innocent to clubbing phase to boyfriend.
But it's like when we were in high school, like, she didn't really want to go out and do things. So it was like, you wouldn't go to her first and be like, hey, I'm going to go out with this person. But then Feyre says, I wonder if Elaine resents me for that judgment. And she's like, probably. And I'm like, I don't think she understands. Like, I don't
think you're the first person she wants to go out with either.
No, she would rather go out with the twins, Noala and Caradwyn, than
that's
her. They probably have drank a lot. I'm not going to lie. They probably have. And so obviously, yeah, we have never seen this from Elaine. Like, she's been, how she's been brave but not confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
And it's here that Rhys is like, maybe you haven't given her the chance to be so.
Mm-hmm.
That is for real. I will agree with him there, is that both Nesta and Feyre have babied the shit out of her.
Yeah.
To thinking that, like, she's content where she is. It's like, we always have to protect Elaine.
Mm-hmm. And it's gotten to the point where, when we were in Nesta's point of view in Silver Flames, of just her being like, Elaine's now on Feyre's side, or they've always like, Elaine has always been on a side, is how mm-hmm. they've said it, rather than just on her own and being able to think for herself.
Yeah, so it's like, I do think part of her problem is them, mm-hmm. but I also think she is content in being that way and not, like, getting out of it.
I think it's a mask.
You think so?
I think she's letting herself, like, seem content by all of this so that no one asks questions.
Okay, because that's, like, really also the theory part of this episode.
Which we'll get to later, I know.
But no, I'm saying we can weave it in. I'm just saying, like, my thing is, I wonder if she was like that. I feel like when she was human, it was very much like that.
When she was human, yeah.
But I think something happened in the cauldron that we don't know about. Because she had her own experience, right, that we don't know.
Right. Like, we didn't know about Nesta's experience until we literally got it in this book.
Maybe they had something different. Maybe she saw something. Maybe something happened, or like...
I mean, she is a seer.
And maybe something triggered that so that this is her mask. And now it's like, well, I'm content in fooling everybody, but I'm actually this way, is how I see it.
I still, I've said this before in other episodes, that one moment where Lucian was in ACOTAR, Lucian was going to go to the continent to look for help. And she came down and she didn't hear them talking and stuff like that. Anyway, she stopped and she's like, oh, I didn't, no, sorry. They were talking about the prison. She came out. She's like, oh, I didn't hear you. And then she's like, I'm just going to turn around here, go back to my room like I wasn't. I still think that she was sneaking out.
Because if we remember that scene, they had a sound bubble around because Amren was talking about how she got out.
Yeah.
So they were there, like they weren't hidden from her. She just could not hear them.
And so it's like she was like,
and she was coming down the stairs, like she was going to do something
out because she didn't know that they were there. She thought that they weren't there.
I don't disagree with you. I think she's doing shit, but I don't know what it is. And so, but it's like Rhys is very much heavily saying here that like maybe she is interesting, which kind of sucks because he says, and I quote, but I wonder if everyone has spent so long assuming Elaine is sweet and innocent that she felt she had to be that way or she'd disappoint everybody. With time, perhaps we'll see a different side of her emerge.
So I will say for that first part, that is relatable. Like being like sweet and innocent and then having to be stuck that way because that's the image that you've created for yourself around others.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. Second part, yes.
There was so much layered in that comment.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, he doesn't say that in a good way. That is neutral. That doesn't mean good or bad. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes me nervous about it.
And he says it in a way of like, with time and safety. As if, like, okay, let's give her some space, give her time to bloom into the flower that she is. But I see it as like, with time and safety, I feel like that's going to be like them letting them guard their guards down and then she's going to pop up. So it's going to be like safety on them, but then something's going to happen. She does something and they're not going to be safe anymore.
Yeah, because this is why I hated English class. Everything could be taken in a different way. Because there's one way to take it is like, okay, if she's safe and content, then maybe something. But like, what if he's saying, what if we have to be on?
Right. It's like the whole like thing of the sentence, I didn't say to kill him kind of thing of like, I didn't say to kill him. Didn't say to kill him. I didn't say to kill him.
Using a fucking double negative and it's like, actually, that's what we're gonna do.
I didn't say kill him. It's like where you put the emphasis is what it feels like with here.
Right. It's kind of, I do kind of appreciate that because we talk shit about Rhys and Amren like buttering Elaine up during this whole like last part of this book. Mm-hmm. And it's like right here where he kind of throws her under the bus a little bit. He's like, sometimes Nesta isn't wrong about calling her not interesting.
Yeah.
Because that comment, she's like, oh, you'll finally be interesting after all. And Rhys is like, well, she's not wrong.
And then Feyre's like, wait, you think Elaine's boring?
And he's like, I mean,
she's kind and I'll take kindness over nasty any day, but
that is very much the brother-in-law being like, no, she's not interesting to me. Like,
it's like, I don't want to offend you, so I'll say she's kind.
Uh-huh.
But there is a but there.
Or, I mean, I've been on the receiving end of being that girl dating somebody who had a bunch of brothers and being like, nope, I got the right one. Like, you know exactly what I mean by that too. I mean, I didn't, in the moment, it was definitely the right choice.
I mean, I've never dated someone who's had a sibling, but I definitely get what it's saying of like, no, I definitely have the better brother here.
Mm-hmm. He does, there is kind of a beautiful kind of metaphor here, though, of him saying that, okay, gardening seems like it might be boring, but you kind of have to get your hands dirty in order to do it.
Which, honestly, I love the way that it's said of, yeah, gardening makes something pretty, but you have to get your hands dirty to do it. And it's like, I think that goes hand in hand with our theory of, while I originally thought that she's going to be evil, I think we've kind of settled into a theory that she's going to have a bad moment, like she's going to have a bad path. Mm-hmm. Going down the wrong path for a little bit. And that's going to obviously cause some like tension and stuff, but like eventually she'll come back to herself maybe. Maybe she'll finally end up with Lucian, we hope.
I think so. I think her path is going to be like she's going to lose herself, think she's doing the right thing, or she's going to have like a full selfish moment. She's going to blow up because she's never been I feel like she's never really thought about herself before. She's always thought about it in relativity to others.
Right. So I think she is going to bloom eventually, but she's definitely going to get her hands dirty.
And she's going to, and apparently, like Feyre said, and torn up by thorns.
Yep.
It's funny she brings that up because thorns is so, like,
bringing that back.
associated with her.
Yeah.
Now, because, like, she was so prickly beforehand, but now it's like, you know, you got your hands torn up. But I do appreciate how SJM puts in here, well, just layering this metaphor even more, right?
Mm-hmm.
To her saying, but if she was protected and put her gloves on that Lucian bought her, she would not be caught and dirtied.
Lucian is her protective glove.
Lucian is her condom. That's
well, they don't exist here, but yes, he's basically
condom. So it's the what the fuck? It's the So I mean, anyone who's watched Game of Thrones, there's like a morning after tea. Yeah. It's like in all of those fucking shows. There's always like
they have that here too. It's like the brew.
The contraceptive brew. That's what they call it.
I almost said constipation.
I mean, there might be one of those too. I don't know.
Say it again.
Contraceptive,
not conservation. I'm struggling. The contraception brew, contraceptive brew. That cancels that out.
Their pill, basically.
Yes, their birth control. Let's call it
the birth control pill. Except it's a brew.
Yes.
So it's interesting that so back to the Lucian thing. It's interesting that she brings him up as like, okay, he bought her. I wonder if she'll eventually use those gloves. And that'll be like the subtle way, you know, her accepting him.
What if she doesn't use them for good though? Because they're supposed to keep her hands clean, right? And so she uses them like while she's supposedly getting her hands dirty in the figurative sense.
I want her to have an Ocean's 11 moment where she tries to steal the trove using those gloves, and so that
no fingerprints
left behind. But then we'd all know who stole it because if Nesta didn't, there's only one other person who could do it.
That's true.
So
I hope she doesn't throw Lucian under the bus though.
Oh, she will. She will make that man's life a living hell before she actually gets with him.
Absolutely.
And I feel so bad.
Our baby doesn't deserve that.
Mm-mm. And I love, again, this is like, so every time SJM has written a mini-chapter, I mean, that's what happened in Frost and Starlight, as well as Akamath with the Nesta and Cassian chapter. She's subtly hinting who the next bit's about. Mm-hmm. She's like, one sister at a time. Yeah. So this book's about the one sister, the next one's going to be about the other. It's like, that's the subtlest stuff too.
But I get that. I can't handle Nesta and Elaine at the same time.
Mm-mm. But of course, it can't be a face-end moment without Feyre being like, you didn't have to look at Nesta like that. Why did you give her a death glare? Scolding him. Oh, well, we're getting to that.
Yeah.
He has to get scolded first and then sex.
Of course. Because he probably kind of gets turned on by the scolding too.
Why do I have a fucking type, bro? Why are all the guys I'm into like, oh, I love it when you yell at me? Why? I don't get it. Don't you want me to be happy?
Yes, scold me first.
Because obviously he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. The cruel, overprotective, half insane one.
Yeah, he has kind of been that recently.
Rhys definitely has changed in this book. Like, I don't think necessarily for the worst, but he definitely, like, again, we're seeing him now in Feyre's perspective. Obviously, we're saying, oh my god, Rhysand, he's so cute.
Versus seeing him in Nesta's point of view. And even sometimes, at times, Cassian's point of view.
And that's the point, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love that through her eyes, it's very much like rose-colored tinted lenses, where she sees him in such a good light. I mean, she notices it, but she's like, she even says in this chapter, she's like, Cassian said you were moody, but he hasn't been like that to me. Of course he hasn't, because why would he?
Because he wants to hide everything from you, obviously.
Right. And it does make sense. I hope he doesn't continue this, because this could potentially go down a bad path.
Yeah.
If he continues to kind of be good at hiding himself from her.
Yeah.
Because that's not the point. Like that in this specific situation with the baby, I feel like, okay, I'm going to give him a pass. But if this continues into the next books, I'm going to get a little concerned.
Yeah.
About him and his judgment. But hopefully this is one of those, like, okay, this is a high stress situation. I hope it's a fluke. I hope it's just one of those things. Because they shouldn't have a problem with the pregnancy after the end of the book.
Right.
So that should not be another issue that arises. So if it's another thing that comes up, I could question his judgment. But she is happy. She's like happy to tell the family.
She's like, finally, it's not a secret anymore.
And the fact that Moore doesn't know yet, but at the point we're at, Moore isn't back yet. But when she does learn, she's very protective of Feyre.
Who do you think's going to be more protective, Cassian or Asriel?
Oh, fuck. I feel like at different things. I feel like with women, I feel like Cassian would be more like the person to go to and protective versus if that kid ever got bullied, Azriel would be on their ass.
Take him down to the dungeons.
Oh my god. Hey, do you want to visit my office? It's in the Court of Nightmares.
Hey, so you think picking on the son of the High Lord is fun?
Dude, that kid's gonna be a fucking walking target, but also don't fuck with him. Like, everyone's gonna know.
He has all of the guard dogs of the inner circle. Like, even Amaran's gonna be like, nobody messes with this kid.
Dear God. Amaran alone, even with no power, would scare the shit out of any kid.
Just imagine, like, Nyx, like, if he did get bullied at one point, he runs straight to Amaran's apartment. She stands there, like, in her short, like, short body, obviously. And
short body.
Her short form just towering over Nyx. But, like, everyone is like, oh shit.
Okay.
It's Amaran.
Right. Yeah, so here's where she said, like, hey, are you okay? Like, Cassian says you've been moody. But anytime I've looked at him, I've seen love in his eyes. Because he actually is being truthful when he looks at her. That is how he feels, but he's covering it up really well.
She's not asking the right questions.
Mm-hmm. And so we finally get because we didn't get this in the main book, but we finally get the moment of them figuring out when they were pregnant.
Yeah.
I
didn't expect it to go that way.
No, neither did I, but it's kind of interesting. So she was sitting at an easel in the gallery at night, painting a nightmare she had the night before. So obviously I'm assuming this baby stuff happened before then, but like, for them to be able to tell it because they can smell it is one thing. This baby was already like, I mean, again, we took, high school biology, right? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure sperm met egg already and, did its thing.
This is like the equivalent of missing a period and then taking a test like 4 to 6 weeks later.
Or it's like, I wonder why I'm feeling sick in the morning. Like, it's like that level of, oh, fuck.
When it finally starts to become noticeable in the symptoms in your body.
Yeah. So it's like, so she's already been pregnant for a little bit, so I wonder why she had a nightmare. I feel like that is very interesting.
Where she was dragged back under the mountain and couldn't read. I wonder if that's related to like having a child and, teaching them how to read, like kind of like that just instinctual mother thing of teaching and then being like, well, I could have died there. And now
I think magic's involved.
Probably.
I think, like, the baby itself was having magic already. I don't want to say made her have a nightmare, but I think it had something to do with, like, fate, the mother, whatever fucking force is like, this child is gonna be fucking powerful as shit. And, like, that's like what's having a nightmare.
What if it was actually the baby's nightmare, playing off of her memories? And being like, well, something's gonna happen where you're left alone. Rhys is not there.
That's some fucking Twilight shit. That's some you haven't gotten there yet, but that's Twilight shit right there.
Dang.
Oh my god.
What I was gonna say before you read that scene is that one question I had when I was first reading it was, how did Rhys know what it smelled like? I mean, I get it if it's like, if Feyre's scent just shifted, and he'd be like, oh, something shifted, what's going on? But like, to specifically know that it's a baby, at first I was confused by that, of like, how would he know? I mean, I guess he is over 500 years old, he's probably met pregnant women before. But then, I had the thought, he had a younger sister. So maybe he learned what that smell was from his mother carrying his younger sister.
Well, I mean, and you could, like, if she has a shift in her scent,
like,
and
maybe like his mother explained that to him of like, this is the way that my scent shifted is because I'm pregnant. So maybe because of that, he connected that.
I mean, I think what you're on is spot on. I will say it does remind me of Twilight. So, spoiler alert for you.
Lovely.
When she gets pregnant and she has the baby, Edward can read its mind. And so the baby's talking to him. And so like he's
while the baby's still in the womb?
Yes.
Oh, that's
that is not the weirdest thing about that series, though. I will say, if you know, you know. Do not tell Liesl in the comments. We're still gonna watch it, but like that's just what it reminds me of. Is like him being able to, like, especially with his Daemati powers, maybe sensing there's like a development of a third mind in there or something. You know what I mean? It's like that thing. But anyway, so apparently, like, the children had gone home, basically what her kind of full circle in Frost and Starlight was about being happy teaching these kids and being able to, like, feel her own emotions through their emotions, too, when they work.
Which
so
I definitely get that, like, being a teacher. You kind of, like, just, your energy changes based on what your students are feeling. And, like, today there was a lot of energy going on. Anxious energy going on. So I felt very anxious today during work. Everything just felt super overwhelming and everything. So I could tell from the anxious energy of the students, and that was affecting me.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting about the dream itself. Like, why she's having this one.
Yeah.
Why is it the second trial, and why is it that it's like the illiterate thing again? I think the more important thing about that nightmare is the fact that Rhys isn't there.
Yeah.
To save her.
Which again is what I said, the future thing.
Yeah, it's like, what if he's not there? Which I don't want that to happen.
Right.
But is there a possibility where he gets kidnapped somewhere or something? Ooh. And he's incapacitated because they know he is. I'm just saying, for anyone who's read fantasy before, there is seemingly in all of these series, there is at one point where the main couple gets separated from each other. Not just with them and Hybern thing. Legit, one is kidnapped and the other one is trying to get to the other one. That is a staple romantasy trope. And I'm wondering if she's going to do that. I'm not saying that I want her to do that.
I mean, and we kind of had a taste of that in Mist and Fury, but it wasn't like a huge, like, major thing.
And in those books, like, the whole book is that.
Right.
Is them separated from each other and then trying to go and find. So I wonder if she's going to do that, or if, because is she going to have to come into her own? Is she going to have to become High Lady if he's not there? Like, High Lady, she already is, but like, taking more charge.
Yeah.
So I wonder why that is.
Everyone looks to her for decision.
Mm-hmm. And so only Amarantha had been present, the King of Hybern a shadow behind her, and somehow no one knew why I was. Somehow that she learned she cheated and never escaped. Is that Sarah J. Maas's theorizing that Amarantha isn't actually dead? Or is this going to be something where, because she's under the mountain? Dude, I'm telling you, it says she cheated, that Amarantha's going to get to her again. I don't fucking believe. Where's her body? I literally said this in season 1. They didn't describe where her body, they literally left it in there. They left it in under the mountain.
But it was pinned.
No, they took it down. There was like that whole section where I remember this. They took it down and they like put it in under the mountain. They buried her in there.
I think she's dead. But I will say, I mean, Jurian was dead.
Mm-hmm.
He was brought back. So I guess there is a potential that like she could be brought back, or I don't know if they're going to start playing with like ghosts and spirits and whatnot. Comes and haunts Feyre. I don't know. But I think she's dead.
Okay.
I do believe that.
I don't know. Anytime I like keeps getting brought up, I'm like, is this SAM just like having her character relive trauma? Or is this like a moment of saying, hey, be fucking worried because she might be coming back? I don't know, man.
Or what if it's someone who knew Amarantha and is like coming to avenge her or something?
Clithia just gets fucking resurrected.
Yeah, Clithia's the one resurrected. Well, Jurian's gonna have a fun time with that.
Crazy, by the way. But anyway, so moving on, yeah. She woke herself out of the dream, Rhys, obviously, comforting her, as any good male would. And so, obviously the children were left, and she's I knew as soon as she was drinking tea, bro. Yeah. It's like, okay. So Rhys comes in the door, he enters, utterly silent, observing her with just a look of pure shock. And then he drops to his knees, and he's like crying.
Which, that could go with your idea of, like, maybe he sensed it Daemati-wise, of, like, maybe he sensed it before coming, and he's like, something's going on with Feyre, I'm gonna go check on her, and then he came in the door, smelled it, and it was like, oh shit, I know what that is. Mm-hmm. I can just picture Rhysand blubbering and, like, crying on the floor, like, baby.
Because he's such a cute man. He's so powerful, but then at this one woman, he's just like, oh my god, it's a baby with us. Like, because remember, if we look, because we can't overlook this. Akamath, all those books where he was like, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve happiness, and like, now it's finally come into fruition that he's having a baby when he never thought for 500 years he would ever have, or even have somebody who'd be willing to have a baby with him. And it's like, no, it's happening, babe. It's happening.
It's happening.
And so she's like leaping off her chair, jumping in. They have sex on the floor. Like, my god.
I hope they close the door first.
I'm with Feyre for like I'm up until a point, oh my god, like this is such a sweet scene of, I mean, you guys have watched those TikTok videos where it's like the reaction to a baby thing. Mm-hmm. And some guys have a really good reaction and sometimes they don't. I mean, obviously this relationship, they were planning it. It wasn't.
It is also like something we don't see is like the guy learning first and telling the female of like, "Hey, you're pregnant."
Yeah.
Like, we don't see that
normally.
But she sees him crying and just hears the word baby, jumps him,
and she's like, "Yeah, like we're having a baby, yay!
We're having a baby, it's super sweetness, kissing, and then let's fuck."
It's like, okay, they're laughing, tears, and then they're kissing.
Let's celebrate having a baby by making another one.
And then our clothes vanished. And I love what she says. I'd ridden him on the floor of the studio.
Yep.
Okay, I'm with y'all up until a certain point, but like, I don't know if I would have sex on the floor where the children are at. I mean, they're not there now,
Right,
but like,
they're not. But like, they were there like just a couple hours ago.
I will always know that we had sex on the floor.
So the next day, while you're teaching your class and children are running around and painting their trauma, and then you just see that one spot, it's like, the High Lord was laying there one time and I was riding him.
I mean, didn't you guys have, maybe not you, because I shouldn't even ask you, because this is not going to be a thing you got at your high school. But like, there was always, in our one theater thing, there was always one couch that we knew was the sex couch. And like, it was just common knowledge. I never saw anybody fucking, get fucked on there. But like, there was a common general knowledge that that was the makeout sex couch.
We did have a makeout couch.
You did? I'm
shocked. It was in the
junior
senior lounge. Of course.
I'm shocked.
And then especially when they moved the senior lounge away from the office upstairs into a closed room.
That wasn't just the makeout couch. You know that, right?
But it was definitely the like known makeout couch when it was downstairs in front of the office.
Or we had the band closet. All the band students, the fucking horny band students. That was my high school for sure. So all of them were horny as shit. And I could tell you stories on that, but not now. So anyway, yes, they have sex on the floor. And I love how the fact that it was the subtle thing that we know, that if somebody was reading this the first time, they'd be like, why the fuck is he coming at this? He's crying and she licks his tears away, which is reminiscent from the first book, if we don't remember, of him licking her tears away. And he like comes at that, and she's what a thing. Because we get the context, it's sweet, okay? Mm-hmm. But someone not knowing that, they're just like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? What kind of thing is he into?
What are we reading?
It's like, no, that's the first time he kind of showed her any kind of affection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now she's doing back to him when they have a baby.
And he was doing that, to make her, like, feel better.
Calm her down and make her stop crying. And
yeah, it definitely made her stop crying.
Definitely made him stop crying.
So now he's just kind of avoiding the question by sex again, and he's twirling her hard breasts, you know what I mean?
It's like, oh, right, back to this moment here. She's asking about Cassian.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh.
Well, and it's a common thing that most people don't know if you like, I mean, I've been around a lot of pregnant people, so I get it, but like, dude, pregnant women get horny as fuck. Like, and it's like an actual biological thing that just happens. That they're more hormonal.
Right, it's not just fantasy.
Yeah, so that's real as shit.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of, it's like, so she's like, so are you going to answer my question? I mean, you're like tweedling with my breasts, but like, can you answer the question? That was not the right word to use, but I'm going with it.
I think you meant twiddling.
Maybe.
Twiddling your thumbs.
Tweedling? He's playing with them. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, pinching them and twirling them. Maybe.
Well, and yeah, your breasts get heavy when you get pregnant because it's like the
milk.
Yeah. That was weirder than tweedling. I'm just going to let you know that right now. But he even he's like, no, there's no reason. She's like, tell me. And then he's necking her. Jesus. I mean, that would make me stop asking questions.
Yeah.
Because he's using it against her because he knows that she's horny as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
She said that she literally some nights could not wait to rip her clothes off when he walked in the door.
Rip his clothes off.
Both of their clothes. Well, no. Let me say this actually verbatim for actually what it says.
Please do.
She says, I could barely wait for Rhys to enter the bedroom before I ripped his clothes off. Before I dropped to my knees, taken his cock deep in my mouth, or asked him to fuck me against the wall. Now, both of those things, you know I'm good for.
Just so our listeners know, I just gave Tabi a look.
Yeah, for the I love, why is it that Feyre and me are specifically into walls? I don't get it. I mean, I do, but...
And also, I do think, like, if you were in the right mood with someone that you were deeply connected to, you would rip their clothes off.
And I would suck their dick, yes. Yeah. I would.
He would just walk into the room and you'd pounce on him and he'd be like, okay, this is happening now.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
Oh, yeah. It's fine.
At this point, I shouldn't apologize.
He's heard us talk about more.
But, and we have talked about it with him.
Yes, even that.
But, yes. All of those things, yes. But I just love how they're amplified now. She's like, I even used up my Daimati powers to like call him during lunch and be like, come to the townhouse and me.
Because no one's staying there right now.
No, the townhouse is common ground. There's no one there. That's literally the place they can go to if like they've screwed so much in their house that they're just like, okay, we need to go to the other one.
We need a change of scenery.
That's the cabin for them down there now. Yes. So it's like this baby's coming in like late spring or whatever. Of course, we have to hear them about. Sometimes it was rough fucking, and sometimes it was very lovingly.
Yeah,
which is normal.
It's good that they switch things up.
The embodiment of making love. Do you have like a weird thing about making love? Because I don't, but some people do. Some people kind of have a weird thing when someone says making love.
Like an ick kind of thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
I
think if it's overused, because it's like, we're calling it making love, but honestly, that one right there, like, that's plain fucking, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Of like, if they call every type of sex making love, then it's not an ick, but it's kind of a cringe.
Yeah.
But, like, I have nothing against calling it, like, making love, because sometimes it is, or maybe just love making.
I think it's also a delivery.
Yeah.
Like, true. I feel like if someone says it, like, let's make some love tonight, I'm like, no. Yeah, that's an ick. That's
immediately a cringe.
That's immediate ick, yeah.
Let's make some love tonight. Let's make love.
Please.
Versus, like, yeah, we made love all night.
Yeah, when describing it afterwards, yeah, for sure.
Anyway.
I love how she even asked Maja about it. She's like, is this normal? And verbatim, she's like, most expectant mothers don't talk about it, but it has to do with your body's altering essence. I can't tell you why, but it's normal. Enjoy every moment of it. That is an old fucking nurse being like, you have a hot husband, fucking enjoy it.
Yeah. Enjoy it before you have a kid.
That is such the old woman nurse saying that, and I love it so much.
I imagine her, like, having, her as in Feyre, like, coming off of, like, an entire night, no sleep, just all sex, going to Maja the next morning of, like, hey, is this normal? Like, you know? And then Maja just, like, looking up from her papers. Yes, it's normal. Enjoy it, please.
It's like, enjoy it because we're all living vicariously through you. Like,
you know, the city shudders every time he...
Oh my god. Because, so he does say, he's like, okay, I'm not getting... So he pushes the thought away. He's like, I'm moody because I'm not getting any sleep.
I don't believe it.
Mm-mm. I love how he... I feel like even this chapter was more Silver Flame raunchy. Because it's in this book.
Yeah.
Because this wasn't a very hot face hand scene for such a small bout. Yeah. And it's literally written like...
And it's not even detailed that much.
No, but
it's like, it goes through it really quickly, but at the same time, it is very raunchy.
He like feels her slickness and then says, see, and then licks it, and then she's like, okay, I'm ready.
No prep needed.
She's like, I learned what Rhys would... like, he'd tell me after.
They've got a good relation going of, like, they were friends first before they were lovers, and so it's... Which, honestly, I love bringing that up.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That they were friends. They are friends.
I mean, that's, like, the ideal romance I think we all... we want.
Yeah.
Of with somebody. Being able to be friends, but then also being able to be lovers.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, your partner or somebody that you're going to spend the rest of your life with is somebody who's your friend. I don't think I could be with someone who wasn't.
Right.
I think that there's like a normal progression to that.
Right. You start off friends, then you get closer, then you...
Or even if you started out as lovers, I feel like eventually getting to that point of being like a mate or a relationship, we would become friends.
Right.
I'm not saying...
Because you have to get to know each other in order.
Yeah. So...
That's true.
She's like, okay, I don't, just casual fingering.
Yeah.
It's always been a part of our friendship. But really, it's like to give each other the space when they're ready to talk.
Which is, like what happened when Feyre had that like one nightmare and, she woke up and it's like, well, do you want to talk about it? And Feyre's like, in her perspective, she was like, I know that he won't push if I don't want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. We've always given him the space. So this is like a doubling down on that moment here.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have to be reminded by that stupid bargain they made of not living in the world without each other.
And Feyre's like, oh, it's nice. And then we're like dumbasses.
Well, because they don't even, like, this is before even any of that happens. And
I know, but like dumbasses.
So, of course, he hedges her, and then he unbuckles his pants, pulls it down. He doesn't even take them completely off. He just is like,
It's a quickie.
Yeah. Okay, I find that one's funny. That word is funny to me.
Quickie.
Because I always thought that would be like, that's like jacking off.
No, that's jacking off.
Well,
Jacking off is jacking off.
A
Jerking
quickie
off
is
jerking off.
okay.
Quickie is intercourse sex that's really quick.
Okay.
That's my definition anyway.
It is. I just weird.
A fun word though.
Again, Sarah has to remind us again about their considerable length. That's literally what she...
And how teasingly slow Rhys pulls it out. He's always a tease.
I just love how even in a fucking mini-chapter, she couldn't help herself. She's like, ugh, that dick is still so huge.
It's so big. Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. No, don't apologize to our moms. We talked about this.
No,
we're good.
We've already talked about
it. And of course, he's like, it does feel real when you tell everyone else. Like, I mean, that's why everyone makes it a moment, and even people, will record moments when they're telling the grandparents, or they're telling, their parents, or whatever.
Yeah.
They make it a moment. That's why it's so fun.
Yeah.
So they, obviously, they're done with the sex very quick.
Yeah.
And Rhys is like, okay, we'll just let Moore know we'll let him let her know.
Yeah.
So she'll see her and then smell it. Here's where the real important stuff goes. Do you have names in mind? So, okay, people really get fucked about this. Feyre's about to say his family name, his last name, but he interrupts her. She knows what his family name is. And as somebody who, and again, we're going to talk about this when we get to the end of the season, when we talk about the Massverse stuff, 100% his last name is one of those other names.
It's gotta be.
I can just tell. That's not canon. I'm just saying.
Which, Feyre, we're not in her perspective anymore, but she knows his family name. She's like, your family name. And he's like, let's not talk about my family name.
It's proving to us, because there's so many people in the ACOTAR world where, like, why is Feyre and Lucien the only ones that have last names? And it kind of makes sense why Cassie and Azriel don't have last names, because they wouldn't want to take their father's names.
Right.
Because their fathers were assholes.
Right.
But Rhys's last name is important.
And why doesn't he want to tell us? I mean, I get part of this is Sarah just being...
fucking with us?
A tease, yes.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, I'm kind of getting this here of, let's not talk about my family name. Rhys saying that. It's like, well, why don't you want to talk about it?
Something bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's... people think it's, Starlight or something. I don't think that's it. But anyway, so if you guys have any theories about what his last name is, please let us know, because I have many theories about his last name. But that's that was the teaser to that theory. It was why did she write it like that?
Right.
What about naming him for your father?
Which we still don't know his actual name either.
We don't know the Artron's family, so...
we know the last name, but not his Papa Artron's name.
They were that was in the running as well, and I don't even know it.
Yeah.
But she's like, no, which is very true.
Make that his middle name.
She's like, I don't want it to be... I want the son to have its own name.
Yeah.
His own name. And that's good. Cause I'm not going to diss somebody that's like a junior or something, but I don't know. I feel like if I was in this situation, I would be like, yeah, maybe a middle name for sure.
Especially in a Fae world. We don't really know any Fae that are juniors.
And also, I don't want his fucking name to be John, okay? I want it to be a fucking fantasy name.
Yeah.
Dude, because I bet his name was fucking... well, the thing is, why don't we know his name? I wonder if his name is also brought up somewhere else, and we just don't. In the Massverse. Fuck. Yeah. It could be Chaol for all we know. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want it to be, but I'm just saying, could you imagine... because that just means that there's somewhere where we've heard it before, and we're not hearing it now. Yeah, and I could see the father Rhys is gonna become... there is so much fan art. Even my father, he has reached the end of the book. He's like, can I see some Nyx fan art? He asked me to get some Nyx fan art.
I have some wonderful...
with the inner circle specifically.
I have some very beautiful ones.
What about Nyx? So Nyx, before she even said anything, I went, fuck. That is literally in Greek mythology the goddess of night. And I was like...
and in pop culture games, that's the goddess of moonlight and stars and night. So it's like, I don't know, something about a young boy born of powerful parents having a goddess's name rather than a god's name.
It kind of gives mother vibes to me. Well, I will say, it's kind of... does anyone remember Sky High? Am I the only one who remembers that? You might be too young for that. So Sky High was... you also didn't watch movies, so Sky High was like an old Disney fucking... was it Nickelodeon? Disney? It was one of those movies. And this superhero kid was like the son of the two most powerful superheroes in the world, right? And they thought he was normal. They didn't have any powers. It's going to either turn out that... I think it's going to be that scenario where they're going to think Rhys. They're going to think Nyx is boring and normal. but then he's gonna pop out and be really. So they're gonna.
I think he's gonna end up being powerful. What if he's like a late bloomer though?
That's what that is. That's what I'm saying. Because all these people in this universe, they had their powers before they were in high school. It is Disney?
Yeah.
So then they got into high school and he was the only one who didn't have powers.
2005, I was 3.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said you were too young to know it.
You were 5.
Well, dude, I watched it. Yeah. But anyway, so regardless of whether it was Sky High, it's the trope of the late bloomer trope of thinking that he's not going to be powerful and then him fucking being really powerful.
Or I wonder, it's not really a common trope, but like if he does have powers like early on, he's an early bloomer, but then like he kind of like caps out for a little bit and everyone's like, oh, he doesn't have as much power as we thought. Until something unlocks the rest of it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's going to be that. So. I think so, because I think it's going to be either or. I mean, he's going to have, like, the base powers, like, being able to fly or, whatever.
I keep seeing all of these memes, basically, of, like, Nyx learning how to winnow very, very early on. And, as we've been told, winnowing requires a certain amount of power.
Yeah.
Specifically, this one meme just popped in my head of, like, it's like a High Lord meeting and Feyre's there, but it's just the High Lords, and then, like, Nyx waddles in, waves at everyone, and then waddles to Feyre. A couple minutes later, Moore runs in out of breath of, like, apologizing profusely of, like, I'm sorry he keeps winnowing away and I keep losing track of him.
Well, and this is an important moment, too, because I think I brought it up in one episode where we were talking about, it's been a while since there's been a child of a High Lord. And then not only that, but a High Lord and a High Lady. And this is unprecedented territory of it being, like, a High Lady as well. But the last person, it was Lucian, is the well, no, Tarquin, because Tarquin's younger.
But Tarquin wasn't the son of the High Lord.
No, he wasn't. So I guess in that way, Lucian was probably the last son of the direct High Lord to be born. And that was like 500 years ago. So it's very important territory. Yeah. Because that means that not only because it's Rhys's and Feyre's kid, but it's another like powerful being brought into the world. And so it's very important.
All the monsters are out and now we've got this tiny baby creature.
So, which is why they're so worried about it. And that why in the future books, I mean, obviously people could pose a threat to him. Yeah. Because they don't know.
Hell, Elaine could pose a threat to him.
Well, yeah, and they were worried specifically about Baron because if the child has Feyre's powers and would have his powers in turn. Yeah. So he doesn't want that. They need to kill him before that happens, so they just...
Come on, Eris, what are you doing?
No, he'll have a fucking freak out moment. It'll be like Nyx will... he'll miss him by accident and be like, I don't know what I did, Daddy.
I don't know what happened. That's how Eris becomes High Lord.
He
this child how did you become High Lord? Well, this child misted my father.
I love how he does. I don't want to gloss past it though. Yeah. But apparently he finds this name in a book. Again, we know this from Greek mythology in our world, but we haven't seen another goddess. So the fact that there's other gods in their world opens that up very heavily. Yeah. To me.
Which it was mentioned early on in ACOTAR, in the OG ACOTAR, how it's like, we no longer have any gods or holidays. So even then it was mentioned gods, plural, and then, the Kelpie mentioned gods, like the gods can't help you.
But we didn't know about them.
But like even then, like it's rarely been mentioned as plural. We've only really heard of the mother, and even maybe fate, we've heard the power of fate, or
just kind of like her, yeah.
Which could be like godlike. The mother is the only god that we have actually heard of. So yes, now we're hearing of a second goddess. I wonder if there aren't any gods anymore. There's only goddesses.
Oh, you think it's like a female-centered thing?
Could be.
I think because there's like gods that get brought up elsewhere, I feel like that's a crossover waiting to happen. But that's just me. I will say when they did say Nyx together, she described this night-kissed wind coming in that felt this kernel of power. This is right. This is the one you should use.
Oh yeah. Nyx, I said one last time. I could have sworn a flutter of night-kissed power rose in answer. Rhys sucked in a sharp breath as if he'd also felt that kernel of power.
So it's like, I guess that's the name we're going with. Yeah. And because we haven't gotten to the end yet, we don't know the name, but...
But this is spoiler, so...
Nyx is a good name.
Nyx.
I actually think it does sound more masculine than feminine. At least to me. Maybe it's because...
Okay, I think it's weird, but I think with the Nyx, if it's spelled N-I-X, then it feels more masculine to me, but N-Y-X is more feminine to me for some reason.
I guess, like, I don't know. Maybe it's because Nyx I always just associate with baby Nyx. I just assume man. Well, male. Maybe. So, I don't know.
Nixie. He's so cute.
But yeah, so there's like so much to unpack in these mini chapters because there's so much theory we already discussed about. I think we kind of discussed our theory in the episode itself, but I don't know. I love these mini chapters because it's also SJM giving the audience a little bit of a taste of a scene that happened in there, giving us like some context that we didn't know about. And like us getting to see the scene where she figures it out. That's sweet.
Yeah.
And obviously a little raunchy sex scene.
2 sex scenes here? Of course.
Oh yeah, technically there was the one on the floor, but that was like
the one where they found out, and then the one in the study on the couch.
Yes. So, but I mean, I love these mini episodes go by so fast.
They do.
And I'm like, ugh, I want to savor them.
Our main episodes are like 3 hours long versus our mini episodes being like an hour long.
Well, that's good. We need the variety. We don't want it to be all
I've been putting together a spreadsheet of all of the times in our recordings, and like including like the unedited time versus the posted time, and just like comparing them to that. Right now, before episode 11 is released, we have 140 hours actually put out there into the world.
And that's crazy.
And, like, that's wild. And then we have over 200 hours
when it's unedited,
and it's like we have spent over 200 hours recording. That's kind of impressive.
It's almost been 2 years. We're about to celebrate our 2-year mark in August, which is so crazy to think about. Yeah, I mean, if you stayed to the end, thank you so much. I mean, we always love this. We didn't have any graphic audio here because they don't do the graphic audio for the little parts, but
Melody and Anthony would have had fun though.
Oh my god. Yeah, they would love to do this scene. Oh, Anthony Palmini. Oh, Melody Muse. So you guys stay to the end. I'm going to give you some fun facts about Torian before we leave. So every time I have to say Toran. Torain because I keep wanting to say Torian, like our friend Torian.
I know that you'll see it in the description, but it is Torain. It's like terrain, but Torain.
Yeah, so it's Torain, so I apologize that.
Yes. But yes, it's not Torian, not our friend.
Because I keep wanting to say that, I'm sorry.
It's Torian's bags. He has stylish bags too.
Shout out to Torian. So the bags are crafted from upcycled feed and rice bags sourced globally.
Which makes sense since she found them in Southeast Asia. That's where she got her inspiration.
So the rice bags was interesting.
Yeah.
But then the second one is products are durable, lightweight, water resistant, and they're perfect for travel in the outdoors.
Yeah. Because they look really water resistant.
Because if you're like us, and mostly Liesl, but also me sometimes, if you're very clumsy, that's what I'm trying to say. Clumsy like us, then something water resistant is nice.
And I mean, I haven't felt any of the bags yet. I want to get my hands on them to like feel it texture wise. But the way that they look kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if you know the material that windbreakers are made of, like kind of that slippery kind of feeling, like very water resistant, well, I guess raincoats.
Well, those are supposed to be water resistant. They're supposed to be.
They're for the most part. But anyway, so it's like I can like already kind of feel it, even though I've never actually felt it, which is kind of weird. But
and so then the last one is that the collection of like products that you can choose from are what Liesl was trying to say earlier, but they're backpacks, totes, wallets, and specialty travel items.
Oh, they have wallets?
So yes, they have wallets.
I didn't know that. That's a new fact for me.
So thank you for sponsoring this video and promoting us and everything like that. So please go to them, use the promo code TFBW podcast, so Twin Flames Between Worlds podcast, and get 15%. And please keep following our Discord, Instagram, TikTok, and all that. We are definitely being more proactive about that and feeling really good about it. Liesl is doing her own thing on TikTok, doing a bunch of different fun videos. I'm doing some graph audio videos from my reactions of during the day when I'm out and about working. And so it's been really fun. And we're going to start doing our live streams up and again once we've finally, I think, started cementing at least a little bit of a schedule. And so now that we have that, live streaming will be a little bit easier to do. So please, again, give us your ideas about what you want to. I mean, obviously movie nights are coming back.
Yeah.
But if there's anything else you want to do, like doing the story from before about if you wanted to hear our story from our one backpacking trip, if you wanted to like hear our camping story, we could totally get on live stream and talk about that.
Story time.
We need to do your graphic audio for the first part of Silver Flame live stream as well. But yeah, so we will be doing those, and just keep on, like we really couldn't do this without the fans, and I can't express into words how much this means to me and how we're just growing ever so. And so just please, if there are fans of ACOTAR and you like us so much, please spread the word about us.
You guys have been doing really well about like spreading our podcast to your friends and just mentioning it, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah. And I'll put the Discord link as well in the bottom now, since the link actually works.
Yes, since it's an open community server now.
So if you want to join our Discord and meet our lovely people on there, you can as well. Yes. So
come chat with us.
So our next deep dive episode will be chapters 51 to the end of 55. So it'll be there's a lot jam-packed in there. So we will see you guys all in that next episode. Do you have anything to say to the people before we go?
Just one last thing of like, I know we mention it all the time, but if you have any feedback, you have any comments, anything we could do better, or anything you like that we're doing, like we are all for that. Especially now, like Tabi said, we are getting into the schedule, kind of like being more consistent at this moment. Like we're always looking for new ideas, and now that we're posting more than just the reels of our past episodes, we're actually putting more content out there. We want to know what you guys like, and we want to be able to post more of what you guys like.
And you can, because we're on every podcast platform, but you can obviously you can put comments like the description itself, but there's like a comment section on YouTube. You can do the comment section on Spotify. They got Spotify comment section, so you could do that. And also, please just don't forget to rate and review the podcast, because that really does help us.
Yes, it does.
To review.
If anything, it puts us out there. That's how we even got these sponsors in the first place, is because you guys put us out there. You guys rated us and gave us all that. And so it's like we actually ended up in the sponsors' algorithms. We were noticed by sponsors thanks to you guys.
So please, we'll keep on going, and we'll see you guys all in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.